Hey everybody, welcome back to Stringman Guitars. We're down here in the underground lair and we've got what looks like a Daphne Blue Telecaster, 90s vintage, until you get down here. It's a Peavey American made Reactor, and my buddy just got this on trade, and he says that he's having trouble in this area with it fretting out. And I just measured the string height at the 7th fret, and it's got a big bow in it. I'm also noticing if I look in I'm not the first one that's been in there, and I'm hoping the person that was in there before me did not gooch the truss rod. Okay, so we have American made. Do I guess that it's going to be an American truss rod? I doubt it. We're going to try this. For 5/30 seconds. Up. Can we make contact? Can't tell, it seems like it's just barely in there. Let's see if a 4mm does any better. You're not even in the picture, sorry. There. Alright. That feels more solid to me. So, when you're tightening the truss rod, you're going to want to loosen off the strings because you're going against tension. And what we're looking for is 10 1/1000s. And let's see if we can get that in a slot. A little more room for ourselves. Oh, truss rod works just fine. Let's see here. I'm going to give it a little bit more just because I can. Alright. I'm going to bring this back up to pitch and we'll be back. Okay, we'll put about a third of a turn of the truss rod in. I don't need that anymore. Let's see where we're sitting here at the 7th. We could use a little bit more truss rod. Okie dokie, we've got 10/1000s at the 7th fret with the capo on the 1st, holding down at the body joint. That's what we should have. We don't know what are on there, but he wants 10 to 46 on there, so that's what we're going to do. So I got to call Buddy. The nut slots on the G, E, or G, B, and E are too low, and probably would be better buying a Tusk Nut and doing it right. as opposed to whatever. So I'm going to have to call Tusk tomorrow and find out what to do. And I also want to take a look at the tuners on here, because some of the posts are bent. Okay, we've got some bad tuners on here. And lucky for Elias, I have some good tuners. The A especially is bad, like the post is just warped. And I just happen to have some that have the little single tang in the middle. I have a whole set of the ones that have the double tang, but probably the same manufacturer, who knows. Much better. Okay, that one looks fine. That one looks fine. I think the B was a little hinky. No, it looks fine, feels fine. And this one's a little hinky. So we're going to go ahead and swap them out. This one had a little bit of a hole. Yeah. This one had a little bit of a, what was I going to say? I can't remember. Guess it wasn't important. Let's just make sure they're all in the holes. Yep. Ah, that one's no good. Snapped right off. Welcome back to the underground lair. We have the Peavey Reactor back on stage for us. We need to do some, let's see here, I want to clean up the fretboard and polish the frets a little bit. So stand by. So we're just using some simple green to clean off some of the old DNA off the fingerboard. Then we're going to go ahead and put some F1 on to make it look newish, or newer. Oh my goodness. Here we go for the second pass. Ugh. But it's looking much better. That's the important thing. For some F1 treatment to bring this back to life. Not going to marinate this, we're just going to wipe it on, wipe it in, and wipe it off. Looks like it could really use it. Okay, much better. Get this out of here. Clean the back of the neck off. Okie dokie. Yeah, that was so wet. Okay. Now, let's see here. Strings. The strings of the day are GHS nickel rockers. 10 to 46 is. Okay, we are strung up. Let's tune up. Guess we should stretch the strings. You stretch on both sides of the nut, by the way. And the reason I'm filming at this angle is because we're putting a new Tusk nut in. Because the other one, it was the stock plastic nut. First of all, you should never have a stock plastic nut on a guitar. It was, in all honesty, just crap, and somebody went and tried to make their playing their action lower than what it was supposed to be, so by doing that, he just messed up the whole thing. Now the reason that the strings are not in the string tree here is because right now I'm not worried about that tension, I'm worried about the string height at the nut. We want 20 thousandths, and we're not quite there. Really not there. But so I knew this would be the case. It's a flat-bottomed nut, so we're going to take a few thousandths off of that before it's not even glued in place. So let me do that, get the string height down, and we'll be back. So in the interim, a little story on this guitar. We had an issue with the tuners. They were awful. I don't know what happened to them, but they were bent. And because they were bent, I just happened to have a set of the very same tuners that came on a Yamaha guitar. So, me being myself, I decided, well, this is a good guy, I am going to take care of him. And we'll replace the A, B, and E. Well, that replacement went well, that replacement went well. This one, put the new one in, and they are cheap tuners. They're unbranded, not just whatever the cheapest they could find to throw in here. Well, I was snugging this down. You never crank these down to tighten them, you snug them. And I got to the point of snug and it popped, and there was no way to get, it's not even in the picture, there was no way to get it out. I couldn't get it out. I had to pry the back of it off, which was not a problem at all. And so I got the back of it off, but that left the post and I had to unscrew the insides of it. It was a mess, and still the washer and the nut that goes down and attaches to the bottom of the tuning machine was stuck in the hole. As it turned out, when they drilled this, I don't know what kind of CNC machines they had back in 97 or 94, I can't remember what year this is, but they bored up from the bottom to make the hole so far. And then they come down and bore it out, I guess to clean it out totally. But for some reason this was off. And when I went to tap out the back of this piece of wood, I don't know if you can make it out in the camera. I'll show you closer. This piece of wood down here, about the thickness of a veneer, came off the guitar. So I glued it back into place, but it's still a little rough. I was thinking of sanding it, but that would mess with the finish, and I don't want to repaint the headstock, because of course that would mess up your decal. Called the customer, and the customer was more than gracious, just an awesome customer. And he says, you know what, when I'm on stage, there's not going to be anybody on watching that's going to say, hey, that guitar has a little bit of a chip in the headstock. So just a very nice guy, and for his trouble we replaced the mismatched saddles, which had different somebody at some point had replaced this one, the grub screws, and both on the B and the E with Imperial. Even though this is American, crafted in the USA, they use metric parts. I don't know, I guess cost cutting. So that's the story of the misfortune of the headstock. But man, is it good to have great customers who understand the perils of working on guitars. Okay, so we put some Big Ben's nut sauce on the string tree. That down there, put that down there. Now let's bring this back up to tune. Okay, so let's check our, what are we checking? Oh yes, our relief. Put a capo on the 1st fret, hold down at 17th fret, go for the 7th fret, and you want 10,000ths, and we don't have 10,000ths. So, okay, last truss rod adjustment. I'm liking that. There's no string buzz, but haven't adjusted the saddles yet. Alright, let's see if we fix this. Chasing high frets. Stand by. Alrighty, Daddy, we have our intonation sorted. We have our high frets sorted. And let's check our pickup height. That can't possibly be right, can it? No. Let's see here. Looks like somebody really jammed this in here. That's working. I didn't think the pickups were that close to being too high. I may have to check the intonation again. A little too much. A little too much. Go the other way. There we go. Yay. Let's check the back one. Now that was messed up to begin with. Let's see here. What did we do? Okay, so we have our new nut in place with the proper string height. We have several new tuners, story earlier in the video. We have our string height set. We have our pickup height set. We have intonation set. So the only thing left to do is let this thing sit overnight and come back and check it in the morning and get it back to my blues slaying buddy. So we're done here. We're going to let it sit overnight and we're going to come back and check it in the morning. Meantime, take care of your neighbors, love your neighbors, and take care of yourself. Have yourself a great night.